Welcome back to Epic Exchanges and another YouTube video of our podcast. I am really happy this week to have my friend Jennifer McFarland come on the podcast and share her story. Jennifer, why don't we start by having you tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Oh boy. Well, I'm Jen McFarland from Monarch Dawn. I share with women who have ADHD how to get past the fear and shame and loss that comes from living the inconsistent life and a lot of the difficulties that come up with that. I am an author. I've written a book called The Monarch and the Manager. I'm an international speaker, and I'm a TFT tapping practitioner.
That is a lot of accomplishments. I am very excited to have you. Welcome. If you're ready, we can jump right in and you can share your story.
Ready to go.
Great. Go for it.
Oh boy, my story has been kind of like an epic adventure or a mountain climbing trip where it's been in levels. So it's gone a couple of different phases. So I started out because I've lived through more than my fair share of some traumatic experiences, and that has a big impact on your life. And I recognized it when I was about 17, and I started looking for answers because I didn't want it to have that impact on my life long term. And I did all the things that you typically do when you recognize, hey, there's depression, anxiety, fears, things like that. I tried all the normal stuff, like therapy, self-help groups, medication, some alternative therapies. Everything was beneficial to a certain extent, but I didn't have that really big relief that I was looking for. I still was hurting a lot every day. And it impacted how I was a parent, how I raised my kids, how I took care of myself. And that went on for 20 years. And I just kept holding on and looking for an answer. And I stumbled upon it accidentally. A friend of the family told my mom that she had experienced this wonderful kind of alternative therapy, and my mom signed me up for a session. So I got to experience TFT tapping for the first time just over 10 years ago. September was my 10-year anniversary. And I walked into the session, the appointment, not knowing what to expect and daily struggling with depression and anxiety. And I walked out with all of that released, free from those experiences. And it had such a profound effect on me that I got trained and became a tapping practitioner myself so I could share this with other people. I'd seen so many people also hurting and also looking for answers. So that, like I said, that was 10 years ago. That was like the first phase. And then I went, okay, now that depression and anxiety isn't my daily life, let's do some good. So I wanted to take better care of myself, but I recognized I didn't have great follow through. I really struggled to be consistent. When I decide to do something, I just wouldn't do it, you know? And so I'm like, okay, what's the deal? So I started studying about habits and went through my every book I could find, get my hands on. And the more I learned, the more I started to understand, okay, all right, there's things that I can do to help myself out. So I didn't just learn about it, I started to apply the things I learned. And lo and behold, I came up with a whole process, a method that helped me change my behavior. I was able to quit a lifelong soda pop habit. I would drink at least a 2 liter Coke every single day and haven't had a drop of pop in 9 years now. Uh, and I was able to start exercising regularly, which I was like trying to get my health back, get my bod back in shape. And I was able to go to the gym on a regular basis. I trained for and finished 2 sprint level triathlons, 2 in a year, one right after another. And I was like, great, I have this process. I'm going to teach it to people who are struggling with their behavior, who want to make positive changes. And then life went on. And I ended up having some significant difficulties in my family. So I put all my work on hold and just took care of family, took care of business for quite a few years. And then 2, 3 years ago, things had started to settle down, and I went, okay, I'm going to dust off the business. I'm going to do tapping. I'm going to teach people my process. And I recognized I'd been a stay-at-home mom. I didn't know how to run a business. So I started taking business training. And that's kind of where the third challenge, the third level of challenge came up, because I was learning, but I was really having a hard time applying what I learned. I didn't understand why. And I just happened across a Facebook group that was to support women entrepreneurs who had ADHD. And that's when the light bulb went on for that third level of, oh, that's right, I have ADHD. I had been diagnosed years ago, sort of casually, but research and information had caught up with adult women having ADHD, and now they knew so much more that I could apply to take better care of myself and understand really what I was going through, deal with my challenges from with all the information I needed. So that is why I have picked to work with women who have ADHD, because that's me. And it has been an illuminating and wonderful experience to now be able to really embrace every part of me with this new awareness. And with the new awareness and with the method I developed, I was able to write my book. So it's just been really great to have all these things come together and be able to be to the spot where I'm at now, where I get to help other people going through some of the same things.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. There is a lot in there, and I was busy taking notes, so I was listening. I might not have been looking at you the whole time, but I want to start with, you mentioned TFT, but I'd love for you to describe what that is, because it's not something I'd ever heard of before meeting you. I'm familiar with EFT tapping, which is the popular version that a lot of people are out there sharing and talking about and stuff. But TFT was new. So please tell us about that.
Yeah, they're both really great modalities. TFT is like acupuncture for your emotions. You tap on specific points that correlate with acupuncture points while you think about an emotional distress issue that you'd like to address. So things like anxiety, grief, fears and phobias. There's even a tapping sequence for cravings. And with these sequences, you basically release the connection for the emotional distress to past experiences.
Okay, so you mentioned that you had this appointment for TFT tapping, and that it helped you release everything that you felt like was holding you back, the depression and other things, in just one session. That's amazing, number one. But number two, is that what most people could expect?
Generally speaking, yes. The amazing part of TFT is that it is so fast. It's effective and fast. Sometimes if you're dealing with a complex issue, there can be layers. So if you're really experiencing, for example, really intense grief, you can say, okay, I'm sad, I'm grieving, and it's messing with my ability to function. I'm ready to let this go, but I can't seem to do it. A TFT session could release that grief, but underlying might be some anger, might be some fear, and that could come to the surface after you release the really intense sort of primary emotion that you're feeling. So occasionally a follow-up for a second session is helpful, but there are a lot of people that I've worked with, my personal experience, that per issue, one session can be enough.
Okay, that is exciting for people that have a hard time releasing issues, emotions, any of the things that we've been through. And it makes me also wonder, when you mentioned grief, like there's the 5 levels, right? So I wonder if it would make sense that once you've cleared one, obviously the next one comes up and you might need to clear that one. And then, so I just found that interesting. Okay, so next question. You talked about developing a process for focusing on habits and being able to accomplish a lot of things, like competing in 2 sprint triathlons and other things that you've accomplished writing your book. Do you have 3 simple tips that you can give people in terms of building habits? Because for me, the thing I have so much knowledge and so many little tips, like you taught our Sacred Story Circle group about some little hacks for TFT. And I've got those in my back pocket, but I don't practice them. So, and I know that practicing would help. So what are your 3 best tips in terms of building habits?
The first one is really dig down deep into why you want to do the habit, why you want to make a change. Because you can go back to that when you might be struggling to change a behavior, or when when it gets hard, because change is not something like tapping can happen so fast, just like flipping a switch. Change is one of those things that takes time, it takes focus, it takes effort. So having a really good, strong understanding, an emotional connection to your why is a great start. The second thing I recommend is really be specific on the change that you want to make. Saying, well, I just want to be healthy isn't enough to start making a difference. It's say, well, how do you want to be healthy? Is it your nutrition? Is it your movement? Is it your emotional well-being? Get specific, write it down. And then this one hack works for all. It's kind of a habit stacking hack. I call it the when then method. So pick something that you already have established in your regular routine, and then attach the new habit to that. So, when I get done with breakfast, then I do my collarbone breathing exercise. When I get home from work, then I immediately put my lunch bag dishes in the sink. So that's taken care of. Just it's a really easy way of connecting something that you already do to
Right.
something that you want to do.
That makes a lot of sense. So I would love to know, you talked about the TFT tapping, your book, the habit stuff, a program that you've developed. So can you be specific about how you help people now? You did mention that you work with ADHD women in particular. So tell us, who do you work with? How do you work with them, and what results can they expect?
So I kind of have the 2 phases of the tapping, which is great if there's anything from the past that you feel like is holding you back. It really is great to not carry those burdens into the present. It just helps clear the air and clear your mind. So there's the TFT tapping sessions that I do, and I have single and a 3-session package for those. And then the program right now, I'm teaching basically one-to-one coaching for the habit program. It's called the Monarch The Method, and the result you can get is that you get to pick the goal. So whatever goal is important to you at the time, and we go through the process and build a framework that's personalized just for you and for your goal. So we work through the process. learn more about yourself, get personal insights, find out how you've been successful, plug those things into this framework that I teach you, and then you get support working the plan to reach the goal. Because the whole idea is to be able to create and manage habits so that the action that you need to do to accomplish your goal, you start doing automatically. So it makes it so much easier to get things done. You don't have to focus on it and think about it. You do in the beginning to create the habit, but once it's in there, then you can just sort of let that run on autopilot and get things done. And the really cool thing about that is that once you learn what works for you can copy paste that on any of a new consistent action you want to take, any goal you want to accomplish, self-care, personal, business, whatever. This is now like a life skill that you have access that's personalized just for you.
Awesome. Who wouldn't want to do that? Because we all want to make changes and grow and get over things, create new good habits. Okay, so how can people find you if they want to work with you?
My website is www.monarchdawn.com is the easiest way. I have a free chat. So if you just want to ask more questions or see if there's something you're like, I don't know if you can help me. Like, well, let's talk about it and we'll see, come up with some ideas. And that's also how you can sign up for any and all of my packages to work with me.
Cool. That's great. Okay. One final question, kind of a fun question, and I did not prep you on this.
Okay.
What would a book or movie that was about your life be called?
Oh boy. Hold on and have fun.
Oh, I like that.
I enjoy a whole bunch of silliness in my life. I collect things like stuffed animals and goofy socks, and I just really enjoy connecting with other people and just having fun. But also perseverance. You have to hold on. You have to stay in the game. Even if you can't make progress, just stay in the game. Just hold on, because I truly believe there are answers to every issue, every problem that you're going through. Sometimes it's a change in perspective if you can't change the actual experience or situation, but there's always an answer. There's always something that you can find to make your life better, to make progress. So just stick with it. Don't give up.
I love that. Thank you. Hold on and have fun. Yeah, I think we're done. Unless there's anything that I've missed that you would like to share.
I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Great. Well, we will have all your links in our show notes, as we always do. And we'll make sure that people can get in touch with you. But thank you so much for sharing your story, for coming and having this discussion. I so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I loved every minute, and I'm really thankful that you invited me. Thank you.